in which we have discussed about the mid band and then low frequency, high frequency. This one is the mid band, this one is the low frequency, this one is high frequency. To calculate the low frequency, we followed these stages, and then we get some formula, then we solve the MOSFET and BJT, we find the frequency, and then we solve the numerical. So up to here is the low frequency response. Now for today's lecture, we are going to discuss the high frequency response. I'm showing you the main points in the previous lecture. Again, it says that at low frequency we are dealing with the coupling and bypass capacitances, but at high frequency we are dealing with the internal capacitances of the transistors. So in the previous lecture we have done the coupling and bypass. Now I'm going to discuss the high frequency. Means before that one we should know about the internal capacitances of BJT and MOSFET. So in today's lecture I'm going to discuss the internal capacitances, how we will calculate this one, and then in the next lecture I will discuss the high frequency response, which includes the internal capacitances. So for today, this one is the high frequency response and Miller theorem, in which I am showing you the high frequency model of BJT and MOSFET. The first circuit is this one, is the BJT high frequency pi model, which has base, emitter, collector, emitter. It means this is the common emitter. Be careful in the assessment or exam, I will change the configuration. I will not give you the common emitter. Maybe I will give you the common base or common collector. Then you have to change the parameters accordingly. Now in this one, what happens? This is the RX, or you can say base to base resistor. What is this one? This RX is the base spreading resistance. This is the ohmic resistance, relatively lightly doped high resistive path from the external base connection to the internal of the base region. You can think about the wiring or internal fabrication stages, which you have seen already in the previous modules. So that RX come from that side. This R pi is the dynamic slope resistance of forward bias, means base to emitter junction. It has the formula R pi. You know that formula already. R pi is equal to beta upon Gm, is this one here, beta upon Gm. Or you can write the formula in this form. We can also say this one R pi as HIE. Now this resistor is R mu. It is known as feedback resistance because it is connected between the input side and output side, because we are taking the output from this terminal C to E. So this is the output terminal, this is the input terminal. So this resistance R mu is known as feedback resistance. This RO is the output resistance. It also has the formula is this one, VA plus VCEQ divided by ICQ. Or you can write this formula in this format. I will give you values if it is required in the assessment to solve the numerical. Now you know about GM, you know that VB-E. Be careful, this VB-E is voltage across base means B dash up to emitter. This is not the voltage from B to E, this is the voltage from B dash to E. So all the parameters are simple. The main work or main process is here. What happens? R mu, which is typically in the mega ohms. So usually we can neglect this one when we simplified the circuit. You can go and read more details about this one in the book Cedra and Smith or any other textbooks. So the remaining components are C mu and C pi. What is the C pi? It is the input diffusion capacitance. It is the input diffusion capacitance of forward bias, means base to emitter junction. and it has the formula. It is a fixed formula, is this one: C pi is equal to Gm divided by 2 pi Ft minus C mu. What is this C mu? It is another capacitor. I will show you in the figure again, which is approximately total is equal to Gm upon 2 pi Ft. What is Ft? Is the transition frequency, or you can say unity gain frequency. When I will solve the numerical, then it will be more clear that what is the Ft. So this is the C pi. This C mu is the depletion capacitance of reverse biased base to collector junction. Its unit is generally the picofarad. Now you understand all this internal circuitry of the transistor, because when we will try to solve the numerical related to high frequency response, then these capacitances will be required. Now in this one, if we are trying to solve this circuit, making the loop 1, loop 2 and loop 3, so everything is easy, but sometimes it is difficult to solve this section. So to solve this section, we are making it using the Miller's theorem. We can solve it using the Miller's theorem. In the next, after 2-3 PPT, I will show you the Miller's theorem. So this one is the small signal model, you can say hybrid pi model for BJT at high frequency. The second circuit is for the MOSFET, you can say FET, high frequency model. This one is the basic internal model of the MOSFET at high frequency. Source, gate, drain, source, means source is common to the both side, input side and output side, so its name is common source. Common source, C means common, S means source, common source. In the assessment, I will give you the common drain or common gate, so you have to also prepare for that one, and also it is useful in the design projects. What happens in this one? The capacitance between gate to source is known as CGS. Capacitor between gate and drain is CGD. The capacitance between drain to source, CDS. So see only these three capacitances here. Now these three capacitances represents the respective terminal capacitances. Generally the manufacturer specifies the other capacitances, means other format of the capacitance, but not directly in form of these three. What they represent, they give you the means manufacturer on the data sheet, they have CISS, CRSS, COSS. They don't have directly CGS, CGD and CDS. What is CISS? Is the input capacitance in common source with output D sorted. What is meaning? Means where is it in the circuit? How you can derive the formula for that one? See this section now. CISS. CISS. It says input capacitance looking from the input side. This is the input side. See this one. From the input side, capacitance looking from gate to source. So this is CGS. So you draw the another circuit as it is, like this one. CS with output D sorted. Output is this one. Short circuit this one. So if short circuit this one is short circuit means this terminal is connected to ground. Or you can design circuit like this one. So for this circuit, the formula for CISS, you can derive CISS is, see this one is connected to here, so it is short circuit, so it means this capacitance is parallel to this capacitance, CGD parallel to CGS. So the CISS is the parallel combination of CGS and CGD. So you can write the formula like this one, CISS is equal to CGS plus CGD. So this one comes from here, because the manufacturer will not provide the directly these capacitances. He provides the capacitance like this one. Now CRSS. CRSS is the reverse capacitor in CS with input gate sorted. The third one is COSS, means output capacitance looking from output. with input G sorted. Input gate, this one is sorted. If you short circuit this one and you are looking from the output side like this one, COSS looking from output side, short circuit the gate to source like this one. So the total capacitance looking from COSS will be parallel combination of CGD and CDS. So you can write the formula for COSS, which is equal to CDS plus CGD. So this is the formula for all those three capacitances. And CRSS, it says that reverse capacitor in CS with input gate sorted. Input gate is this one, short circuit this one, and take the reverse capacitor. So you will get that CRSS is CGD, means the capacitor from gate to drain. So these are the three formula which you can derive from these circuits using the definition of this one. And then you can find the value of CGD, CGS and CDS using this formula. So in the data sheet or in the assessment, I will give you these values. Then you have to find your capacitor using this formula. After this one, using these capacitances, these are related to the unity gain frequency, like in the BJT is this formula, FT equal to GM divided by 2 pi CGS plus CGD. Be careful, here it is no any output capacitor like CDS. After this one is the Miller theorem. It is the last section for today's lecture. What is in the Miller's theorem? See, this is a basic circuit for the Miller's theorem. Input voltage or input current, output voltage or output current, Z means impedance or Y means opposite of this one, 1 upon Z. So the voltage gain from this section, you can find that voltage gain is output voltage divided by input voltage, or you can say AV voltage gain is equal to V2 upon V1, or you can say V2 equal to AV into V1. Now what happens sometimes in the circuits, when you will draw the internal model, it is not easy to calculate the voltage or current across this impedance. So we are breaking this one into two sections. We are breaking this Z impedance. It may be resistor, capacitor or inductor. Maybe this Z we are breaking in two sections, Z1 and Z2. And then we have to derive the formula such that the property of these two circuits should not be changed. So in this case, Miller's theorem provides the means for replacing the bridging impedance. This is the bridging impedance. Z means impedance, Y is the admittance, with two impedances Z1 and Z2. So I'm going to derive the formula for the equivalency of these two circuits such that their property is not changed. So the first come for this left hand side. This is the V1, I1, Z, I2, V2. See, it is not the function of Y. It is says that Z means impedance or admittance. You can take any one, and also it depends on the question or when you are solving the numerical. It depends on that conditions. Now come for this circuit A. This one I1. This is the I1 is equal to, what is the value of I1 from this circuit on the left hand side section will be V1 minus V2 divided by Z. Say again, I1 will be equal to V1 minus V2 divided by Z, or you can say I1 is equal to V1 minus V2 into Y. I am showing you the formula is this one, I1 equal to V1 minus V2 divided by Z, or you can say multiplied by Y. If you will take common V1 here, take the common V1, so remaining is 1 minus V2 divided by V1, which is the AV from here, into Y. So now this is the equation number 1, you have to note it down. Now come for the second circuit. What happens in the second circuit? On the left hand side, calculate the I1 again. See what I am doing. I am calculating the value of Z1 and Z2, which is generated when we break the Z in two sections. So that property will be the same. So I am going to calculate the Z1 or Y1. Same process for Z2 and Y2. Now come on this left side. Find the formula for current is I1 is this one, is equal to, it is in loop, so the simple formula I equal to V by Z, means I1 will be equal to V1 voltage divided by Z1, like this one, V1 divided by Z1, or you can say V1 into Y1. This I1 means this I1 is the same like this I1. Both our currents should be the same because input source is same. Property should not be changed. So I1 and I1 should be the same. So this I1 which you derive here now, we can put as same value like this one. So take this I1 value from here and put it here. V1 1 minus AV into Y. V1 cancelled out. So the remaining is Y1 is equal to 1 minus AV into Y, like this one. Y1 equal to Y1 minus AV. It is in terms of admittance. If you want to put it in terms of Z, you can say Z1 is equal to Z upon 1 minus AV, because you know the formula to convert the impedance to admittance. So using this one, you can get the value of Z1 of left hand side. Be careful, Z1 is on the left hand side. Same process you have to follow for Z2, which is on the right hand side. So for that Z2, the formula is this one. Be careful, on the left hand side it is AV. On the right hand side, when you will do the calculation, all those things, you will get 1 upon AV. So in the class test, assessment or assignment, I will give you the circuit in which you have to think that on the left hand side is this one, right hand side this one, and this Z means this impedance or component, maybe capacitor or resistor. I am not discussing the inductor here in this section for this module. So there are some small formula, you can go through this one. Thank you for today. In the next lecture, we will discuss the high frequency response, in which I will use the internal model of this BJT, this MOSFET, and also use the Miller's theorem. Thank you.